It's Monday, August 3rd, 2020. It's a pleasure being here today talking with all of you. NASDAQ closes at a record high today. Dow Jones up 236 points. You know, watching all of this transpire, all of this manipulation is transpiring right before our very eyes. It's not happening behind the scenes. It's not happening in some dark room. All of this manipulation, all this fakery, trickery, all the hocus pocus, all this is happening right before your very eyes. They're not even hiding it at this point. And half of this country believes what the television is telling them. They believe what the economic and financial analysts are telling them. They believe everything is going to be okay, just like we were going to get a V-shaped recovery, just like everything was going to be fine. Everything was going to go back to normal. And now we are seeing that that is not going to happen. But the manipulation continues. When I see NASDAQ closing at an all-time high, see the Dow Jones up another 236 points today, you see people clapping and yelling and just believing in these markets, all this fakery. They don't understand, even at this point, the disconnect between Wall Street and the stock market and Main Street and the real economy. They don't understand the difference. And it's amazing that people are drowning in debt. People are now dependent on government handouts. They're in food lines, and yet they believe everything is okay. These same people who depend on the government, who don't have enough food, actually believe everything is okay because the stock market continues to go up. And they believe that some miraculous miracle is going to take place and they're going to be saved. And I'm here to tell you that is not going to happen. And I want to reinforce with all of you today, continue preparing because this thing is going to get ugly. We are going to see the average American decimated. We're going to continue to watch this economy to be decimated. And we're going to watch the standard of living and the middle class be decimated here in America. I want to go over a couple articles today. This one on CNBC, extra unemployment is over. So are most eviction moratoriums. Here's what relief could be coming next. That's on CNBC, so if you get a chance, check that out. And remember, don't take my word for any of this. Do your own homework, do your own due diligence. $600 federal unemployment checks are officially over right now as Congress is trying to come to some agreement with what they're going to do in regards with stimulus and these bonuses. A federal and state eviction moratorium is either gone or is going to be gone very, very shortly. Over 30 million Americans were collecting. Over 30 million Americans were collecting these $600 bonuses up to last month. Again, officially over. So we continue to hemorrhage jobs by the millions. More people being furloughed, more people being laid off, more businesses closing permanently. And we continue to see people in big trouble. Until an agreement is reached, jobless Americans now only have their state benefits to rely on. So every day that goes by, these people continue to fall deeper and deeper behind the eight ball here. And I believe that I think we're going to see the bonuses probably go to $200 to $300. It's not going to be $600. We're probably going to get a $1,200 stimulus check. And you have to ask yourself, with all this stimulus, with these benefits, who is going to pay for all of this? This is absolute insanity. This government has gone absolutely bananas. They are just writing checks with nothing in the bank. This is really going to end badly for America. Thanks to the CARES Act, most workers will be able to collect these payments, the unemployment payments, for 39 weeks compared to the usual 26 weeks. But, all I see here is the inevitable. We're going to kick the can down the road for 39 weeks instead of 26 weeks. We're going to go from $600 a week to $200 a week. We are just kicking the can, holding off the inevitable. And I've got to tell you, as most of you, I'm very concerned also with what I'm watching on a daily basis. I mean, it is unbelievable what is happening. The typical state check in America stood at $333 a week as of April, but as low as $100 a week in states like Oklahoma. So just think about, certain states like here, I think it's 400, maybe 450 a week maximum unemployment benefits. You go to Oklahoma, it's 100. Other states, it's probably 250, 300. It just depends what part of the country you're in. But in certain states, these people are really getting hurt. Lawmakers, this was very interesting in the article, lawmakers in California are considering establishing their own $600 weekly benefit program right here in the state of California. Who is going to pay for this? I mean, the typical Californian is in huge debt. We've got multi-millions of people out of work. We've got thousands of people standing in food lines. And this state somehow is going to squeeze blood out of a turnip and give the unemployed people of California an additional $600 a week. I mean, the mental institution has been let out. We are now, no doubt, in the twilight zone. This is absolute insanity. As many as 40 million Americans could be evicted as most statewide eviction moratoriums are winding down. So as I talked about it yesterday, it was 12 million, but you've got to add in the family members, the husband, the wife, the kids. So that number goes from 12 million, and in this article on CNBC, that number could go as high as 40 million because these are families. And the more I'm out driving around in the local area here in certain neighborhoods, I've reported to you that I've seen, and I should probably shoot some video of this, but I see 4, 5, 6, 7 cars in a driveway. Many people now have remodeled their garages so that they can rent garages out or put family members in garages so they have living conditions. So I think we're going to see a lot more of this where people are going to be moving home. People are going to be moving in together just to keep their heads above water. 118 degrees, 120 degrees this week, 110, 112 today here in the desert. Utility bills are going through the roof. I mean, just think if you get a air conditioning bill for $400, $500, $600, $700, okay? That happens out here because we have 3 to 4 months of real serious hit, triple digit heat. And, it is not uncommon to get a $400 or $500 or $600 air conditioning bill. It's hot. How does the average American who's living in a hot summer, in a hot climate, pay for all this? This is really going to get ugly, folks. People in this article, it talked about, people who have applied for jobs. There's a woman in here. She says she's applied for over 100 jobs after being laid off. No one is hiring, according to Elena Latin, who was laid off from her position at a car dealership in May. She's applied for over 100 jobs. No help. And we continue to hear the horror stories, the nightmare, where people who have filed for unemployment back in April and May still no unemployment benefits, no $600 bonuses. What are these people going to do? The government is not coming to save you, ladies and gentlemen. Here's another one on CNBC. The record-setting jobs comeback looks like it could be coming to an abrupt halt. This is on CNBC. So, make sure that you're doing your homework here. But when you read these articles, when you do a little bit of homework and you look at the stock market continuing to go up, there's something not making sense here. Consensus expectations are that 1 point 26 million jobs were added in July. However, many economists say signs are increasing that the number could be well below that and even negative. We saw 7.5 million jobs added over the previous 2 months. And, we have to be careful how we interpret that. We saw 7.5 million jobs added. These, for the most part, weren't new jobs. These were existing jobs where people got furloughed or laid off that they returned to. So we're not seeing massive job creation. They make it sound like all this propaganda we get on the news. 7.5 million jobs added. What an incredible month or an incredible couple months. We've never seen anything like it. Well, these aren't new jobs. These are just old jobs where workers are returning to, and now many of them are getting laid off or furloughed yet again. Goldman Sachs indicators show a decline of 1 million positions also in the article. Here's another one on CNBC. Banks say they are tightening lending restrictions even as monthly demand for money falls. You think that they know something that the average American doesn't know? You think they know something that the average American doesn't know? Of course they do. They know what is knocking at the door here. They are lowering credit limits and demanding higher minimum credit scores from consumers. From commercial real estate to credit cards and autos, institutions are getting tougher on giving out money even though demand has decreased across most categories. Think about that. If that's not a bellwether, if that's not telling you that something very, very ugly is lurking, I don't know what does. But most of you, 98% of you know, it's already begun. We have already entered the greatest depression the world has ever seen. We are going to witness the greatest wealth transfer the world has ever seen. And you need to decide what side of this transfer you're going to be on. If you are saving cash, if you are putting away gold and silver, if you're paying down your debts, you're going to be on the right side of this. And you're going to take advantage of it. And you're going to do very well when this crash takes place. You are no doubt going to take advantage of the sales, and you're going to survive this. And many people have already picked the wrong side because it's already too late. If you're one of these people who are dependent on an unemployment check, if you're dependent on a $600 bonus, more than likely you're already falling behind on your car payments. 33% of people didn't make a full payment for the rent in July. You're already in trouble, and this is just beginning. And so it's too late for these people, and it hurts me to even say that it's already too late. Now, if you're one of these people who maybe still has a job, who has got minimum debt, who's got some income, maybe you got a couple side hustles going on, you can still prepare. You can still save yourself. You can still get gold. You can still get silver. You can still get other assets. You can still work on security. You can go to the store today, go buy some canned food, some bottled water. You can start preparation today. It's these people who are already drowning, worried about the cars being repoed, behind in rent, behind in a mortgage payment. These are the people who aren't going to make it. It's already too late. So if you still have a job, you still have an income, you got some side hustles, you got the debts paid down, you need to be preparing yesterday because it's not too late for you. And the people who have been preparing, keep preparing. Here's one right here on CNBC. A lot of CNBC articles today. Nearly half of all furloughed workers now believe their temporary layoff will become permanent. We've been talking about this for months. Most of you agreed. I said it. You said it. I read the comments. Most people are not going to be returning to a job, at least half. That's where it's at right now. Just take a look at what's going on while the stock market's up today. Well over 100,000 businesses already smashed. They're talking about, nearly half of U.S. restaurants are going to permanently close by the end of all this. We're watching a retail apocalypse. We're watching a commercial real estate depression take place, a crash. We're watching these jobless numbers continue to hemorrhage on a weekly basis. We're continuing to see more layoffs, more furloughs. We're watching Boeing parking 787s in the middle of the desert because nobody wants to buy them. We're watching malls close down everywhere across America. It just goes on and on and on as these markets continue to be manipulated, telling you that everything's okay. Come in and buy into the bubbles, buy into the most overvalued stock market in human history. Yeah, you need to get into this. You need to be running from the hills from these markets, because sooner or later, reality is coming to America. And if you cannot see that right now, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for you. USA Today, Lord & Taylor, stores closing. Liquidation sales are now underway as part of company's bankruptcy. Lord & Taylor, iconic American store right here. Really sad. This is really sad. When I was a kid, I used to love to go to the mall, and you would see the J.C. Penney's, the Carson Pirie Scotts, the Montgomery Wards, Sears, if I didn't say that, Woolworth, all these stores that have been around for so long, and the list goes on. They're gone. They're just gone. One of the nation's oldest department stores, Lord & Taylor, has started liquidation of 19 of its 38 stores. They filed Chapter 11 yesterday, and it's just another store that is going now to be a casualty of this collapse. Yet the stock market doesn't care about iconic stores, doesn't care about your malls, doesn't care about you, doesn't care about your job. It doesn't care if your car's being repoed. It doesn't care if you're missing mortgage payments. It doesn't care about 5 million people in forbearance. It doesn't seem to care about airplanes being parked in the middle of the desert, piles of rental cars in parking lots all over the U.S. It doesn't care about 40 plus million people being out of work. It doesn't care about millions of people who are currently homeless and millions more who are going to be homeless. Doesn't care that you're not getting enough food, that you can't feed your family, and that you're drowning in debt. The stock market doesn't care. That top 0.0001% of the food chain at the very top of that pyramid, they don't care. And we have a really bad formula of wealth inequality and opportunity inequality here in America. And this is going to lead to some very dangerous times in America, because as Gerald Celente always says, when people lose everything, they lose it. And when people lose their jobs, they lose their houses, their cars, their pensions, they're going to absolutely lose their minds. And this is all going to come to a head. I don't know if it's going to be 5 years from now, 5 months from now, or 5 days from now. But this is not going to go on forever. Men's Warehouse files for bankruptcy. Here's another one that's biting the dust. And people just aren't wearing suits. They've got nowhere to go. They don't have a job to even go to. So I guess nobody even needs a suit. So people, I guess, will just sit around in sweatpants or pajamas, because that's typically what they wear when they go to Walmart. But we're not going to need Men's Warehouses much longer. The parent company of Men's Warehouse and Joseph A. Bank said it would close up to 500 stores and cut 20% of corporate jobs. Joseph A. Bank, we had a Joseph A. Bank on El Paseo, very, very high-end luxury retail area of the desert, as I've mentioned many times. Joseph A. Bank, nice store. They shut down about 2 years ago out here. So, we can blame this on what we want to blame it on, but at the end of the day, this economy was already signaling very, very rough times even a couple years ago. Joseph A. Bank closed down 2 years ago. And what's even more interesting is that same store has sat vacant the whole time. It has been vacant for 2 years. Nobody has replaced it. In fact, there are just more vacancies that have piled up in Palm Desert on El Paseo. I will be doing another video there. Every time I do a video there, there's just more vacancies. Like every time I go to that homeless camp in Riverside, it gets bigger. There's more homeless people. So more homeless people, more vacant buildings, more businesses being decimated. U.S. will borrow estimated $2 trillion in second half of 2020. So think about that. $27 trillion in debt right now. You add unfunded liabilities, Medicare, Medicaid, you're looking at $200 trillion, trillions of dollars with unfunded pensions. America, ladies and gentlemen, is no doubt bankrupt. And I hate to say that. I love America, and I know that there's actually people out there that don't like me saying that I love this country. I saw some comments yesterday. People were really offended that I love America and that I believe America is still the greatest country on earth. And why is that? Because we still have a chance to get through this. Yes, we've got massive crony capitalism, not capitalism, crony capitalism. The stock market has been hijacked. These banks have absolutely hijacked the stock market. We have a Federal Reserve with a balance sheet that has now blown well past $7 trillion, going to double easily. That is just printing money out of thin air and devaluing, debasing our currency. So these banks have absolutely driven America into the ground, while that 0.001% laugh all the way to the bank. That doesn't mean that we should hate America. We got to ask ourselves, what are we going to do to help fix it? Why are you keeping your money in one of these big banks if you oppose them, if you don't like it? Start keeping it somewhere else. Start, getting out of cash and getting into gold, getting into silver. Start supporting companies that believe in what you believe in. And, looking at some of these sporting institutions and what they believe in, I think you got to be a complete idiot to support them. But that's another video. I'll talk more about that on Patreon. I'm going to do a Patreon video maybe tomorrow and talk about some of these social issues that are going on. So come over to my Patreon. It's like $3. Join it. It really helps support the channel. And I have a little bit more freedom to talk about some things over there. But getting back to what I'm saying, just because America's in trouble and it's done some things we don't agree with, that's no reason to hate it, because once America goes, what's left? And if you don't like this country, where would you go? Where do you think the greatest country on planet Earth is right now? Where would you rather be? Comment down below what country. Please name that country. I've asked that question many times, and people never seem to. They can knock America, they can criticize America, but they can never tell you what country they would go to that's better than America. Yes, America's in big trouble. Yes, it's been hijacked. No doubt about it. But we shouldn't give up. We still have a chance of turning this thing over. I believe that this whole thing is going to crash. And I believe, as Peter Schiff said, that America took the world off the gold standard. The world is going to force America back onto the gold standard. I believe if America is the first one to that gold standard, we can really save this country, maybe even save the US dollar. And I think we can save a lot of the world if we become the leaders and we do the right thing. If we stop the wars that we are able to finance with all this printed money, these wars that the Federal Reserve can finance. If we stop being the world police and we start handling our business right here, and we get a sound currency, and we get economically responsible, fiscally responsible, and people start taking responsibility for themselves. Yes, the government is bankrupt. The government's been living off of a credit card. It's called the printing press and the Federal Reserve. But how many households, how many Americans have been doing the same thing, living off of 10, 12, 20 credit cards, living way beyond their means, trying to be social media stars, trying to impress people they don't even know or don't even like with the kind of car they're driving. They got to have a special emblem on their car to impress people at a stop sign. America has really lost its way, but stop blaming everything on the government. We can't blame everything on the bank. When do we as a people start taking responsibility for our own actions? And when do we as a people start putting some skin in the game, get involved, start voting, start speaking up? Everybody has the answers, but they're sitting in their house on the couch doing nothing, sitting there eating a box of Twinkies, but telling you and I what we should all be doing. Have you gone and showed any support? Have you gone to a protest? Are you speaking up to your friends, your family, your churches? Why aren't the churches stepping in? The church is so asleep. The church is such a disappointment. The church has absolutely checked out for the most part. You may belong to a great one. God bless you if you are, but they're 1 in a million at this point. The church has checked out. The church should be waking people up to the threats that are coming to America and the threats that are already here, the threats to your freedom, the threats to this economy, the threats to the dollar, the threats to your independency. There are so many things out there, but yet people are afraid. And if we're going to sit here and be afraid to talk about what we need to do, then we are going to be in big trouble. We are going to be a Venezuela. But for those people out there that don't like America, you should just move and go to a better country. But yet you never can tell us what the better country is. I'd rather be here making these videos, trying to wake people up and get people prepared. A wealth transfer, the biggest wealth transfer is coming. Get on the correct side of this transfer, because I think if you do, I don't just think, I know, you're gonna prosper, and you're going to be on the right side of this, and you're going to survive. But I'm praying for America. I still have faith in America, because there's good people, just like the people who watch these videos and comment down below. So many intelligent people, spiritual people, God-fearing people, people that still love this country and believe that we can get back up on our feet and change it. Maybe I'm wrong. Only time's going to tell. But sitting on the couch, eating a Twinkie is not going to fix it. If you're making a video, if you're going to your church and talking to your pastor that, hey, we need to start waking up our congregation and what's going on, getting out to a protest, talking to your friends, your family, your associates, and waking them up, even though most aren't going to listen. But you know what? People are waking up one by one. I'm seeing more and more people waking up. The people who aren't awake, they're not even going to matter. All we need is enough people in America to wake up, and we will make the difference. And I think that if we stay close to God and we do the best that we can, and we continue to stay awake and wake other people up, I believe God is not going to allow America to fall. God will not allow it to happen. He is giving America one last chance. If we stand by and do nothing, and we ignore all this and we just accept it, America will fall. Your life is going to change immensely. Your kids' life, your grandchildren's life is going to change. It's going to be an America that you will never, ever recognize. The freedoms and the opportunities that you once had are never going to exist for your kids. And they're not existing right now. But whose fault is that? We, the people, have allowed it to happen. Our churches have stood by and allowed it to happen. We must start taking responsibility for ourselves, our actions, and our country. And if you're not willing to put some skin in the game, you can kiss it goodbye. God bless every one of you. Pray for America. Talk to you very soon.